What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Culture 316 podcast. I'm one of your hosts and producers, Jordan Ahisi, joined by my guy, Banks. Once again, our interim co-host. What's going on, Brody?
Shit, man. It's cute. Dang, I done cussed 15 seconds in. No, I think we cool. I think it's after 13 seconds you could cuss. I don't know. I messed up. Anyhow, I want this to get monetized. Hey, man, listen. I got NCAA downloading right now, so this perfect timing. I'm up here talking like I'm about to really get a chance to play it. Nah, last night I was gone, bro. When Jordan hit me up to record, I'm like, thank God. I
Right.
was not, bro. I was sleep, dog. I am cooked. Tonight I got a little bit of energy, but by the time it's done downloading, it's gonna be too late. I'm about to turn on Ted, go to sleep, bro. I'll play it tomorrow.
Ted
Cause
is
you got the
crazy.
Iowa shirt on, so
Yeah. Speaking of that WNBA, Team USA game is on right now. I wish I was watching it, but that's
same.
a different story. But thank y'all so much for watching once again. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify Podcasts, be sure to subscribe, give the show 5 stars. If you're watching on YouTube, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Also, shameless but not so shameless plug. Shameless. Strange and Suspicious, TMZ. I'm on there. We have episodes coming up over the next couple of weeks. So if you're in New York, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on My 9. If you're in LA, 3:30 on Fox 11 Pacific Standard Time. If you're not in any of the 12 cities that the show is broadcasting in, be sure to go to tmz.com where you can stream all the segments. And also, we're going to be doing the 316 space for SummerSlam. So if you want to build community with us, you just tap in with us. Just go to X. Follow us at Culture 316, and we start 15 minutes before the show. Obviously, that's not all I want to talk about today, so we're going to get right into these topics. So I kind of talked about something on like the Culture, Instagram, TikTok, on Shorts a little bit, because Fightful was reporting that AEW was doing a stadium show in Arlington. Obviously, my mind went to AT&T Stadium where Mania 32 was held, and I was automatically talking about it being a bad idea. But apparently I was wrong, because they were talking about AEW Collision Summer Series, which debuted today in Arlington, Texas, at the Esports Arena in Arlington. They have a capacity of about 4,000 people, and they sold out today. Unfortunately, while the show was going on, there was a couple things that happened, like Sky Blue being injured. But it looked like a good show. It looked like a really, really good turnout. But I wanted to know, are you in favor of this move of AEW kind of doing this almost like supersized, televised audience type of situation with what they're doing at the esports arena?
Well, they finally used common sense and got to the South. I don't know why they don't go to the South as much as possible. You see, when they do their biggest gate, it's like in Chicago. They need to touch, which is basically the South. Chicago people, I don't want to hear shit. Y'all country as hell. On phone them, y'all country. But they need to just stay in the South. They keep trying to go to the East Territory. I'm old school, y'all. I still think about the territorial system. They try to go to the East Coast. We already know that's WWE, and that's been WWE since WWF was a Worldwide Wrestling Federation with Vince McMahon Sr. back then. The Garden is their mecca. They own the Eastern region. Pause. But I think with AEW, they need to stay in the South. You see what they did by going to Texas. When they go to Texas, they do get a big gate. They need to stay in Texas, go to places like that. When they go back home, you feel me, being LA, they have a big turnout there. They just need to stay kind of like in that region, because the East Coast, that's mostly WWE. And then at the same time, you got to think about it. Nobody got money like that in the East Coast to be spending. Especially, like, my ticket was $30. Hey, it's real right now. I be sometimes penny pitching $30, but at the same time, we blessed. But at the same time, that $30 for an AEW show, you got to think about, like, damn, bro. Eggs about $20. Gas about $5 a gallon. I gotta think about this. Do I really want to see some thumbtacks? So they need to stay in the South.
I actually really, really agree with you on that one. I think they should stay in the South. I mean, I've noticed they've had some pretty good West Coast gates as well. But I mean, I feel like the South, I feel like AEW kind of plays on WCW undertones, right? Like just with the presentation, it being a wrestling centric show. And I feel like stuff like that is just going to translate better in places like Texas, places like Georgia, places like Florida, obviously Jacksonville being their kind of mecca. It works for them. I feel like this idea of doing the summer series is actually a really cool concept. It's like putting the Impact Zone on steroids. Like it's this large televised audience. It looked like it was a hot crowd. Obviously, the stage was set up in a very, very nice way. And it looked kind of like it didn't feel like a Dynamite, but it also didn't feel like TNA, where it was like small and intimate. It was like a nice, healthy medium. And I think that does really, really well for the presentation, because obviously one of the biggest things that's been kind of talked about is their attendance and the direction that it's been trending, and it hasn't been positive. So I feel like, especially now with, Warner Brothers discussions on the horizon, they need to make their case as to why they should get more money. And when have a product on screen that looks like it has a hot crowd and people are coming to see it, you need to play into that. So I think that this idea of doing this television, the studio kind of audience in a bigger way, I think it works for them. I do want to know, do you feel like, because it says it's a Collision summer series, right? So ideally this is probably going to last throughout the summer, and then they're going to go back on the road. I want to know, do you feel like they should make this their kind of Collision home? If Collision should be, 4 weeks here, they do just different residencies around the South.
I think they should do that with all the shows.
Mm,
Uh, because you're gonna be predicated more so about Dynamite.
yeah,
Dynamite is the focal point right now, like you just spoke about. With Warner Brothers Discovery, they ain't got no more money because I keep speaking about it, and I've been speaking about it. If it wasn't for Godzilla, you know what I mean, it gets spooky for them. If you look
yeah,
at their quarterly earnings the past couple of years, it ain't been that high. Like they really betting it all with this Godzilla King Kong movie and then James Gunn Superman. Those
mm,
have to make money for them. If it doesn't, well, obviously Godzilla King Kong made money, but let's say even though it's gonna make money, if Superman doesn't make money, it's gonna get spooky. They don't
yeah,
have any money. Again, we talked about it last week. If you don't want to renew with your cash cow, which is inside the NBA, which they still haven't renewed, so it's basically
yeah,
dead at this point. And this will be their
yeah,
last upcoming season. They just don't have any money. So I feel like with AEW, you got to do something now because if inside the NBA can get dropped, y'all definitely can get dropped.
yeah. Not only can they get dropped, but if there is the possibility of them being picked up, they expect you to fill a void. They expect you to fill that void. And inside the NBA is a big void to fill, considering the cultural impact of that show. Like, that show has been on the air since the mid to late 90s. And
20,
so
yeah,
yeah.
20 something. I think 30
So
years actually.
yeah, 30 years at this point. Yeah. So it's like, if you want to be on Warner, you have to fill in that void, considering how much money you're going to want. And then number two, how impactful inside the NBA was, and just how NBA programming is to Turner and Warner Networks, right? Like, I don't think that there's been really anything that has had the impact that NBA programming in general, games inside, like all that has had on Turner. So you have to fill that void. Now, as it pertains to now, because remember, you have Collision, you also have Rampage. I feel like there is an opportunity here for Rampage to kind of segue into this same kind of format, because like it's an hour-long show. I feel like it kind of is, it's still put on the back burner, even though it was there longer than Collision was. Do you think that Rampage should follow the same business model as far as it being kind of like this studio audience, kind of like studio wrestling, like a WCW Saturday Night type of feel, type of vibe?
Uh, yeah.
Mm,
This show originally it was made to be CM Punk show that
sure.
he didn't ask for, but they did that to keep him away from the elite. And then obviously when he left, it's like, all right, what do we do about the show? Now we got an additional show where we got to pump money into, and it's
Mm-hmm.
just a show. So for it to turn this gate is really good because again, this show wasn't necessary. Like they made this show because they didn't want to spend money on AEW Dark as well, and AEW Dark was great. It was on
Yeah, it
YouTube. It
was.
was generating. Obviously, it wouldn't generate as much money as it would, a Collision, just because they taped the show separately.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you got to turn a profit with this show that wasn't necessary to begin with. So I like what you just said. It is in the direction of a Thunder. That's probably how they thought about it. So, you know, it worked out now. But some people forget Collision is even on. Like, Guy in the Street, I forget Collision is on at times.
Yeah. I mean, there's been so much stuff happening in sports and in culture that's been happening on Saturday night. And then not to mention WWE runs their PLEs on Saturdays now, that Collision kind of gets lost like in the mix of just all the other TV programming that's been happening on Saturdays. And I think that it puts that program in a very, very difficult position. But yeah, like I think that Rampage, as far as Rampage is concerned, I feel like Rampage should kind of follow this like studio wrestling format,
Yeah.
because I feel like it's more fiscally responsible on their end. And if they have the space to make stuff like this happen, then they should definitely look into it, especially if they want to capitalize on the crowds of wherever they're doing this residency for Collision is. But want to know how everybody else feels about this AEW Collision Summer Series, them doing kind of like a studio audience type of situation. Let me know in the comments below. So obviously, the biggest thing that has happened this week in pro wrestling hasn't really had much to do with wrestling. It's just Hulk Hogan was at the Republican National Convention,
Well, let me
gave
tell
a
you
speech.
something, nigga. I mean,
Right.
what is Donald Trump going to do when you bring slavery back, brother?
Not a
You better
damn thing.
run.
You better run. What you gonna do when institutional racism keeps running wild on
Eat
you
your
is
black
what
eyed
this
peas and say your prayers, nigga.
and sing your Negro spirituals. Um, no, but he had a whole speech at the RNC. Obviously it was very dramatic, had a lot of theatrics attached to it. Um, it was interesting to say the least. And obviously the internet had a very, very mixed reaction to it. But I wanted to know how you felt about it. How did you feel about Hulk Hogan being at the RNC?
I mean, what's the saying? And I got to bring it up. It's on Twitter. Somebody said, people are surprised when the devil shows that the devil is the devil, or it shows that the devil is who he say he is, something like that. I'm misquoting it. But people are funny to me, bro. Like, they
Yeah.
always surprised when somebody shows who they already showed before. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why you surprised about this. Just because he said nigga about 1,000 times 10 years ago, people
Yeah.
be one. We be trying to forgive people sometimes. The South never forgets, all right, or the North, whatever, same thing. But no,
Same thing.
nobody forgot, bro, what he said. So for him to do this, it's like, all right. It's not just him; it's other entertainers that have been aligned with Trump in the past month alone, like George Clooney aligned himself with Trump. A lot of people align themselves with Trump. I'm not a, what I mean, I can get into politics because I love to talk about it because it's such a fascinating thing to talk about. Essentially,
Yeah.
it is wrestling, but I don't know why people surprised about this. And then we just saw that great woman. I got to check up on her. That was a brand ambassador for his promotion, and then she got fired the same
Yeah.
day when he found out she was black. Like, bro, people fail to like. Did people forget he's a bigot? Like, I don't understand it.
Right.
And then somebody, the homie, sent a tweet earlier about Brian Nas dropping the N bomb. I'm like, y'all surprised about that? And then number one, I'm gonna say this: if you of any color are watching the Nasty Boys tag match outside of them against Harlem Heat, you need help, bro. I can't name any matches with the Nasty Boys to
Oh
begin
my
with.
god.
All right, that's number one. Number two, Brian Nas looked like mostly every white woman in the South.
Oh my god.
That's number two. Number three, he said Hulk Hogan said more to him. Again, y'all shouldn't be shocked.
Right.
I don't know what's up with people, man. People are funny. Like him being close to Trump. The most funny thing about it is he broke compared to what he used to be. Now he doing better than me, but hell, there's a lot of people doing better than me. That goes without saying. But
Mm.
it's not the same money that the same motion he had before.
Right.
So it's just funny how people align themselves with Trump and they really don't have the money to really be in the room with him. So he just
Mm-hmm.
looked at as just Hulk Hogan. You just here to entertain us, you know what I mean, flex and all that, talking about first of all, him saying like, yo, Trump is the big homie is kind of crazy because y'all the
It's
same
crazy.
age. How you dick riding, bro? Y'all the same age. You like, yeah, this my homie. This the big homie right here. Hey, Trump, you the homie. Like, bro, what? Y'all
The
the
big
same
homie is
age. I think he
crazy.
might be older than Trump. So that's wild. But man, listen, it's just we live in. I keep saying I'm gonna get the fuck out of this country. People don't believe me. I'm gone next year, bro. I am working on getting them out of here, dog. This is idiocracy. This is just like that movie, bro.
Yeah, literally.
All over again. He President Camacho,
But he has electrolytes.
and it's like the people that align themselves with Trump got the paper or they got the power. Like
That.
Linda was in the cabinet. That's WWE right there. Vince was with him, multi-billionaire. You gotta have some motion. You can't just have a little bit. Like, you know what I mean? It ain't Hulk of the 80s. Like, again, he doing all right,
Right.
but it ain't like he got millions. I ain't pocket count, but I'm pretty sure it ain't the same. Because most
No.
wrestlers don't leave the business rich. It's just like boxing. Most of them don't leave the business rich, man.
Mm.
Like Ric Flair ain't got no motion.
Ain't got no bread. Yeah.
He ain't got no bread. Now, again, these people doing better than me, but I'm saying you would think they'll have some money left after all the stuff they put their body through. No, they don't be having money like that. So, I mean, then again, man, a lot of these people just, I've seen it. I was in Long Island. They just had the huge flag, bro. Just the flags, just Trump, like, bro, get the Sheboygan out your mouth, bro. Like, I never seen, this is a cult. Like, we really, I've been saying for a month now, we in cult status with Trump. This cult status.
First of
You
all,
can't tell me it's not.
Sheboying is crazy. That's number one. Number two, it's a dark day when I agree with Jim Cornette because there was an exchange on Twitter between Eugene, of all people, and Jim Cornette. And Eugene says, I'll read the tweet. Eugene says, Eugene has never been more proud to be an at Hulk Hogan fan, at real Donald Trump, hashtag Trumpomaniacs. Jim Cornette responds, Nick, Eugene is a gimmick. You went to school. You know what an unfit piece of filth you're endorsing. That means you think there's something in it for you to advocate for a despicable lying wretch. Please forget you ever knew me. I'll do the same for you. I'm ashamed of you. Please forget you ever knew me is now the phrase of 2024. But yes,
That is
I literally agree with you 100%. I don't know why people forget that this man, Hulk Hogan, apologized for being caught for calling somebody the N-word. Not like for saying it. He apologized for being caught.
yeah.
And because of that, I don't understand why we are so surprised that Hogan is endorsing the politician that he's deciding to endorse. All right. And considering that Amber Rose is apparently on this train now as well, I
She ain't trying to go back to Philly.
she's
That's
not.
all it is.
She's not trying to
I ain't
go.
mad because I done been to Philly.
She's not trying to go back to meet Philadelphia. So I get it. But at the same time, it's like, bro, I mean, like, once again, we are not surprised that Hulk Hogan is endorsing Donald Trump, considering that his past is problematic, racist fueled past. I'm not surprised. I don't think that any of y'all should be surprised. And I think that all y'all should keep this in mind the next time Hogan wants to do a WWE appearance, but y'all gonna still pop for him because it's not even about his stance or how he views people. Y'all just want to rip up y'all shirt with him. So, it is what it is. But want to know how y'all feel about this Hulk Hogan RNC appearance. It is what it is. It's entertainment, and I'm petrified. But let me know what y'all feel about this in the comments below. So this past week on AEW, I think it was Dynamite, MJF and Will Ospreay went 60 minutes for the AEW International Championship. MJF won at literally 59 minutes and 58 seconds. With 2 seconds to spare, he won the title, and he was catching a whole lot of flack online for his match going, number one, his match going 60 minutes. But I wanted to ask you a couple questions. Number one, is it bad that his match went 60 minutes? Two, is this a needle mover for AEW as far as
Number two,
MJF winning
no.
the international title?
Let me cut you off ahead of time, my brother, my fault. Number two, no. He ain't no needle mover. He ain't him. Otherwise, he would have went up to the Fed and been humble and take whatever money he got and then work himself up to get that money. If that's what the rumors are. He said he wanted Roman Reigns money. Dog, it ain't but one other person getting Roman Reigns money, and I think he made more, and that's Brock Lesnar. But it's a reason for that. So number two, no. Number one, he just a mark for himself. I like the kid. I think he's a good worker, but he's just a mark for himself. And then, Tony Khan's a mark for him. Otherwise, he wouldn't have let him cut that promo calling him a mark and cussing on his TV. That's all it is, bro. He just want to keep proving that he could wrestle. Bro, you had the same match with Daniel Bryan. We know you could wrestle. But all you do is wrestle and repeat the same type of promos and be problematic. That's it. You don't bring nothing else. You know what he is? He's a very known indie wrestler. That's it. That's essentially what he is. He's like the underground king of indie wrestling. He's just an indie wrestler with a TV deal. That's all he reminds me of. The way he cut his promos, the way that he walked, the way that he talked. I hate the way that he wrestled, the way that he dressed. I hate that fucking fake ass Burberry scarf that he got on Canal Street from the Africans all of 10 years ago. You feel me? Shouts out to the Africans on Canal Street and Broadway too. They be selling them fake Yankee fitteds and them them buffs. But he just cool, bro. This just setting up Will Ospreay to get the title. Will Ospreay to get the title. That's all it is. Eventually he'll get it. Was Swerve doing that at All Out? He going against Daniel Bryan? All Out or All In? I don't know.
All In.
Pause.
All in London. Yeah.
When is that?
All in London, either August or September.
I think it's August, right? I'll be watching. I'm saying it like I'm not gonna watch it. I'm definitely gonna be tapped in. I'm gonna watch all 6 hours of it, but I'm just saying. After Daniel Bryan, they got to set up the rematch. You feel me? So that's all this setting up for him to win the world title before the year's up. It'll probably be knowing Tony, he gonna book it on Rampage and somebody gonna get a world title on there because he don't like to wait till pay-per-views.
I can't disagree with you. I'm not going to lie. As far as it being a needle mover, it's one of those things where only time can tell, right? But as far as the 60-minute, wrestling fans are so weird because I feel like every time you tell like wrestling fans, like wrestling fans are very, very vocal as far as what they want, I should say. Oh my God, we need real wrestling back. We need real wrestling like old school. We needed how it was in the territories. Flair was going 60 minutes for world titles.
Hey, Flair, 60 minutes in the ring, 60 minutes in the bed. Woo.
Woo. But bro was going 60 minutes for world titles during the territory days. And it's like, what do you like? Say what you want about MJF, but he's one of those guys that studies people like Flair and tries to
But you know what it is? I'm sorry to cut you off, brother, but this is when I start getting into my hip hop when it comes to wrestling. But you know what it is? It's Flair versus Steamboat. It's Flair versus Sting. So you got the legends of yesterday. And then, I hate to be that back in my day because that wasn't my day, but I still studied a sport.
Yeah.
That's because it was promo and work. You just knew wrestling. That's when pro wrestling was pro wrestling. The problem is in between that time and now with the MJF match, we had sports entertainment. So people used to like the 10, 22-minute matches tops of pro or sports entertainment. But back then we had pro wrestling. The problem is they're trying to bring in pro wrestling to this day, but these guys don't know pro wrestling. They don't know how to tell a story in the ring. Again, I saw Will Ospreay. I got to stop saying that. Will Ospreay. Damn you, BRP. Will Ocean Spray. I keep saying it. Will
keep saying
Ospreay.
it.
I hate BRP. I'm gonna tell them too. Will Ospreay, I've seen it in person. Elbow, high spot, elbow, high spot, elbow. So it's like like he can do a 60-minute match, but damn, it don't work today with these type of pro wrestling fans.
Do you think it's a matter of it not working with these type of pro wrestling fans or these type of pro wrestlers? Because I feel like there have been times in the past 3 to 4 years where we've seen pretty long matches, may not have been 60, but may have gone 45, 50. And fans would be like, oh my God, this is amazing. This is a masterpiece. But it seems like people were kind of on this match more than they were those matches in the past.
It's a combination of both because people attention span is shorter than ever for
Yeah.
anything, let alone a 60-minute pro wrestling match.
Yeah.
So it's that, and it's the wrestlers because they aren't being trained to do 60. They don't even get conditioning like you're supposed to have in pro wrestling.
Yeah.
Why do I know this? Because I train and I'm
Yeah.
about to start back training. I've trained before and I'm about to start back training. You have to have immaculate condition. It's not
That's a
a
fine.
sport for just half ass in it. It's legit. You have to be like a top athlete.
Yeah.
So bodybuilding, it just isn't a part of it. It's everything in between. So I think the conditioning, you can't do that anymore with these workers because you see these workers, especially the indie workers. They look like they was working at Chick-fil-A before they got to the ring. Like they just got off their shift and went straight to training. And it's like, dude, all they care about is Canadian destroyers. So it's no ring psychology. With that match, I'll have to watch. I'll watch it, and then when we come back next week, you know what I mean? I'm always saying when I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always admit when I'm wrong, then I'm right. I'd rather be wrong than right so I can learn how to be right. And at the same time, if you're right, you don't need to say that you're right.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll watch it, but I already know what to expect from watching Will Ospreay go against Kenny Omega in New Japan and watching him go against I think I've seen the Ibushi match. I've seen him, run a gauntlet in Japan because most of their matches about an hour anyway. But then again, it goes back to what I'm talking about when it comes to workers. These are Japanese workers, and to be biased, they're very good, and they could tell you a story in the ring and entertain you. And it's just not a bunch of chops. It's not a bunch of kicks. It's not a bunch of elbows. It's holds. It's rest holds. It's high spots, and overall working a body part and selling like you're supposed to do.
I also want to add one more thing before we go to the next thing. I feel like this is a championship pecking order issue as well. I feel like we have this match was for the AEW International Championship, right? Which is the belt that Will Ospreay holds. Prior to Will Ospreay holding it, the belt didn't really sit that high on the pecking order of AEW, right? You look at the AEW World title, right? That's the main title. You look at the TNT title, when it was introduced, Cody said it's not a mid-card title. Okay, so I'm guessing that this is your World Heavyweight Championship to the AEW World Titles WWE Championship. Fine. So where does the Intercontinental title fall, right? Is that your Intercontinental? Where's your International Championship fall? Is that your Intercontinental title? And it's like, and there's so many titles, and there hasn't been an identity built for each of these championships. So now, when you see this in the middle of the card, great matches, but in the middle of the card, and then every 6 months there's a main event. It's like, okay, is this championship important or is it not? Because we keep getting these okay builds, and it's not even really prioritized until we want to we want to show off Will Ospreay, or we want to give MJF something, because that's what it feels like. I feel like MJF can hold the world title, but it's like I feel like because of the little situation that they're in with Swerve holding the title and Daniel Bryan possibly going to All In to win that title, it's like, well, MJF is back. We have to give him something. All right, cool. Let's do the International Championship. That's what this feels like. It doesn't feel like it was a thought out build. It doesn't feel like they've established the International Championship as a main event championship. It feels like a mid-card title that they're trying to elevate, but now that title is going to be sharing main event space with two other championships, and because they don't have a brand split, it's not as if they can establish a successful pecking order for each program. those three titles, meaning the AEW, the TNT, and the international title, are just going to have to share space. And how can you establish importance if you're not establishing space for each title respectively? So that's just like my ultimate. And then when you put that into context, why is a championship that we have not established as an important championship getting 60 minutes? Why are we giving it a 60-minute match? Outside of how we feel about MJF, outside of how we feel about Will Ospreay, why is this championship getting 60 minutes if we have not established it as important yet?
Right.
So that's just my thing about that. But we're gonna be moving. Keep going. What were you gonna say?
My fault, real quick. So Orange Cassidy tried to bring prominence to that title, and I think he did a good job. But then after that, they just hot potato the title. So that's when it stopped mattering. You know, when he got hurt and he had to relinquish the title, it's just a title. So now it goes to MJF, and it's like, all right, it's another achievement for him. But what do you do when you can't? He had the AEW World title and couldn't get it over. It was just another title when he had it. You gotta have these I always say the it factor people. You gotta have the it factor people holding your title. And like you just said, and everybody else says, AEW does have way too many titles.
And that's going to be a different conversation for a different day. But y'all let us know how y'all feel about MJF and all them going 60 minutes. But we are going to move on because it has been rumored that former New Japan Pro Wrestling star Hikuleu has officially reached an agreement with WWE. Obviously, Hikuleu is from that legendary Samoan dynasty. It's been highly speculated that he is going to be a part of the bloodline. I don't know if he is or not, but I want to know, how do you feel about this potential signing? How do you feel about this rumor? Do you believe he's going to be involved in this bloodline storyline? Do you believe that? If so, does it move the needle for them? Let me know.
Hey, man. It's too many of these island niggas. It's too many of them. They got dreads. They got perms. These got perms. I don't know if he Tongan. I don't know if he Polynesian. I don't know if he's Samoan. Hey, listen, man. I grew up in LA. All y'all Samoan to me. I ain't calling you no Tongan. You Samoan to me. It's too many of these island niggas, bro. And with him, listen, I just spoke about it. I don't want to be disrespectful, but bruh, that he's all right, but he's not him. And first of all, are they gonna get him some new knees? He walks just like a mummy, bruh. If Master P was wrestling, that's what he got great Khali knees. He cannot move, bro. His feet be stuck to the ground. He just 6'10" for no reason. Hey, man. If he gonna be there, don't let him wrestle. Please don't let him wrestle. And if you do, let it be 5 minutes. Let him just do that big boot that he did in New Japan. Look, I said already, they shouldn't have got Bad Luck Fale or Follow, whatever his name is, the big dude. They shouldn't have got him Bad Luck.
Fale?
Yeah, they shouldn't have got him. You feel me? He could leave. Turkaloo, whatever his name is. Yeah, he cool, but just bruh, I guess, man. Listen, me and the homie already said it. Until they call Zilla Umaga-san, I don't care no more. Then people talking about they should call Lance. They call Lance. He part of, how you say the last name? Anayi?
Anoa'i.
Anayi. Look, that's why he went to school and I didn't. Anayi. They need to call. They need to call Lance. No, they I ain't gonna say his name, but he was in MLW. You know what I mean? The real Stokey one.
Yeah.
The one. Yeah, I ain't gonna say. You know his name.
Yeah.
Fatu. Call him, bruh. It ain't no space and catering for all these dudes, bro. You gotta think. What's the average household for a Pacific Islander? 2K for the food budget? Probably 3K. It's too many of them. They be hungry, bro. You can't feed them with no damn food stamps. You can't take them to Food for Less. Go to Food for Less, get top ramen, and then the hot dogs on the stick, and then the other bad food that give people black people high blood pressure, diabetes and shit. You can't feed them big people that.
Right.
You gotta have steak dinners, and that's just for breakfast. Steak and eggs for breakfast, man. For their lunch. What they got? The spam? They be eating the spam at L&L Hawaiian Barbecue. You gotta get some of that, bro.
Spam
You
is
got just
crazy.
you got to feed them all. They all protein and just meat, bro. Pause. Like you cannot feed. They can't. You ain't never seen no vegan Samoan.
That's a fact. I've never seen one,
You
but
never will.
never will. Here's what I will say. If there's anything that the E has taught us, is that anybody could seem like anything when they're just presented correctly. So before I make a judgment on Hikuleu, because obviously I've seen his stuff in New Japan, obviously the whole Tamatonga, Hikuleu, him leaving Bullet Club to join his family, that's kind of where they left off before Tama went to WWE. I am very, very interested to see how he is presented. Because I don't think that people expected Tama Tonga to be presented the way that he is. And it's actually pretty intriguing. It fits the fabric of this new bloodline, and it makes him look good. So I'm not going to sit up here and be like Hikuleu is going to be a flop, or he is going to be a flop, or he's not going to be a flop. I want to see how he's presented first. And I feel like based on said presentation is going to dictate where he ends, because we're just assuming that he's going to be part of the bloodline. He could be on some whole other timing. He could be in NXT.
You know he's gonna be on a bloodline. What are you gonna be with the 3 studs of the
I
apocalypse?
don't know, but once again, I'm just saying you don't know. Like none of us know really. I mean, there's a high possibility of him being bloodline, but
What, you gonna team up with Cody Rhodes and become Dustin Rhodes? You gonna become Goldust Stardust?
He gonna be Big Nightmare. But I just feel like once again, we have to see how he's presented before we can make a fair judgment on him. Obviously, tall dude has the look, but like you said,
tall as Elder Barge.
Yeah. I might be gonna get
Bro, they got too many different hairstyles in the bloodline. Some of them got a little, I don't even know what to call it, an NSYNC cut with the, you know what I mean, with the spikes. One of them, all of them, some of them got perm. The nigga of them, Jacob, he got dreads. It's like the one of them got the Boulder dye mohawk.
Solo got the mohawk, yeah.
I'm like, bro, y'all got too many hairstyles going on over there, bro.
Bro, they trying to corner the hair care market. Listen, they're trying to get that.
Jay got the mullet. I don't even know how you go to your barber and get a taper saying, "Let me get a mullet, bro." I'm like, yeah, you from Northern California, but you ain't. I don't know what part of Cali you from. They say San Francisco. You might be with that taper.
Yeah, I'm about to say, yeah, but damn, I forgot what I was gonna say. But y'all, let us know how you feel about Hikuleu.
That's what you about to say.
Let us know how y'all feel about Hikuleu reaching an agreement with WWE. But that concludes our show for today. Thank y'all so much for tuning in once again, and we will see y'all next week. Woo!